Yo, what's good? It's your boy Dot from Dot Me Now Coaching and Entertainment. For coaching, my links are down below. In fact, I actually offer a service called Galactic Akashic Readings where I could help you tap into your galactic heritage and your starseed nature. I could look into your galactic past lives. I could tell you what like abilities they have, what gifts they have, why they're popping up for you with inside this lifetime right now, how to integrate it. It's a lot of stuff I offer with inside the Galactic Akashic reading. So go check that out on my website. I have several other spiritual readings too, but just go check it out and see for yourself. I have a Patreon down below, and inside the Patreon, I actually include a lot of information from ETs. Like I have a series called ET Enlightenment. There's about like 40 episodes so far, and it's pretty much different teachings which I learned from different ETs. I also do divine messages where like different ETs kind of like give different advice for all of you guys. And I also offer like a lot of galactic history, I offer the history of different beings and also the history of like what happened with this outer galaxy. You know what I'm saying? I literally have a four-part series that deals with covering the four quarters of galactic history and what happened. There's several other types of videos on Patreon too. So just go check it out because the Patreon's real saucy, whether it's for alien stuff or for other stuff. I got a lot. The structure of reality, how to ascend more and stuff. It's a lot of stuff on Patreon, you know what I'm saying? But spiritual assassins class, it's a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I have an astral projection course down below. Um all my social media links are down below. Everything's just down below. Go check your boy out. Come connect with your boy. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, drop a like because this video is going to be talking a lot about pretty much like ETs and when they're visiting the Earth and kind of why they even came to the Earth and what it was like and also why they stopped visiting us because like they're still on the Earth now, but they're not always in direct open contact with us, and there's reasons for that, which I'm gonna cover inside this video. So drop a like because I'm bringing y'all some heat. I've been telling y'all to like my videos, and y'all don't be liking them. Y'all be hating for real, but it's okay. I still love you. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, subscribe if you're new. Let's get into this video. I'm gonna be looking over here because I have a document with different notes for this video. So that's why I'm looking over here. But let's first talk about why aliens even came to the Earth in the first place. So, some of you guys may know this, some of you guys may not know this, but aliens visited the Earth because Earth is actually meant to be a galactic library which holds the history of what happened with inside this galaxy. And because of this, several different ETs would come to check up on the Earth and also plant their genes into the Earth so that way the beings on the planets could actually so that way the beings on the planet can actually have these different ET genes. You know what I'm saying? Now I actually talk a lot about this with inside of this video right here on my Patreon. Quarter 4 of galactic history is when they started actually making the Earth and doing all this other stuff. So yeah, I recommend checking out this video if you want to understand more about kind of like the origins of Earth and like how all that type of stuff even got started and why they even did it. But yeah, so that's that, right? Now let's talk about what it was like when they even came. So at first, they simply just came to put their genes inside the planet, so that way, when natural life forms developed, they would have these ET genes. Now, as life developed on the planet, different ETs would actually come to help raise them. Now, let me give you a little bit of like a backstory of how life even evolved on the planet. So, starting off, right, humans actually started off more like as like god beings. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, they ended up kind of like mixing themselves with the earth and kind of like they kind of lowered their consciousness and became dense with the earth, and this kind of made them lose their like divine god nature, and it made them become like more and more human, and these people eventually actually made the moon people. Now, here's what I mean by that, because inside that same video I showed you, I actually explained this, but let me give you guys the minor backstory. So you have these beings called the Inataka, right? It's pretty much the Elohim from the Bible. Now, you know how it says like inside the Bible, it says that the Elohim made the earth, that it made man inside their image. That's because these higher God beings actually did help to form the earth, and then they manifested themselves on the earth to be like guardians of the earth. But when they manifested on the earth, they still had like a higher divine nature. But over time, they became more dense and they became more aligned with the physical, so they kind of lost their godlike nature. And then over time, they decided to actually make the Mu people for different reasons. You know what I'm saying? Now, I actually talk a lot about Mu and Atlantis and Lemuria on the Patreon. Also, I have a whole video dedicated to it. It's right here. You know what I'm saying? The real creation story of ancient Mu, Lemuria, and Atlantis. But I also get into this. I talk about the Mu stuff in Lemuria and Atlantis inside that same video too. These are some of the other videos, but inside this video, I do mention the whole entire Mu people and all that. You know, I mentioned the Earth. I mentioned how the Earth got started off inside this video, and also where Earth is heading nowadays. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, go check these videos out because I do get like really in depth. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still giving y'all some sauce inside this video right now for the free ski. I got you. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot to talk about, so just stay tuned and drop a like for this video. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, at some point, and keep this in mind when the ET when the different like god beings that became human, when they made the Mu people, at this point you already had ET genes kind of inside the earth, you know what I'm saying? And they kind of made the Mu people from already developing humans. Like they weren't like fully developed humans, you know what I'm saying? But like it was getting to that point. And they kind of just like upgraded the genes of these people. If you guys heard about the Anunnaki creation story, it's kind of reflective of this, but it's not the same exact stuff. I get like I said, I get more in depth in the Patreon. I don't got time to get into that right now, but just understand this, right? At some point, aliens came to guide these beginning humans, and then eventually the Mu people, which the gods slash humans weren't even supposed to make. So here's what I mean, right? As the Inataka manifesting themselves on the earth, when as they're becoming like more dense and more like physical and stuff like that, and losing like their god nature, the ETs who placed their Jesus inside the planet, they also would like guide these beings to kind of like attain their godlike nature, but they also tried to warn them about creating different life forms like the Mu people, but they didn't listen, so they made the Mu people. And at some point, the aliens started guiding the Mu people way more, opposed to like the other humans that came from the God beings. You see what I'm saying? So this led to like an unnatural evolution of beings on the planet, which actually kind of helped to jumpstart life on Earth, even though it wasn't natural. You know what I'm saying? So here's what I mean, right? Like the Mu people, like I said, when the Mu people were created, they weren't fully developed, but because those like god beings that became humans started like adding their genes to those beings, it kind of helped their evolution. So it was kind of beneficial, but it was still unnatural. But it was supposed to happen. Like from the higher divine grand scheme of things, it was supposed to happen, even though they was told not to do it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So now you have the Mu people, which the ETs guided, right? Now eventually there was different natural disasters on the earth, and the ETs led the Mu people to inner earth. Like they actually created inner earth and then led them down there. You know what I'm saying? I talk about this more in depth in my Patreon, like I said, but I'm gonna give you all the basic sauce, right? Now, when it was time to come to the surface, ETs led those beings out and then started Lemuria, and then at some point Atlantis also eventually started. So the ETs kind of like brought the Mu people underground to like not die from the natural disasters, because some of the natural disasters were actually meant to kill off like the other humans that made the Mu people. And then when all that type when all that type of stuff was over, the Mu people were like led out of the earth. And then this actually starts Lemuria, you know what I'm saying? And then at some point Atlantis also starts too, you know? So yeah, over time, ETs would constantly visit Lemuria and Atlantis in order to like aid them and help them evolve. But they also would like try to warn them about destroying themselves. You know what I'm saying? Now, once Lemuria and Atlantis sunk, there was like a whole like cleanup period on the earth and stuff like that. And then at some point, the ETs helped to plant the Egyptians. Now, like I said, I go more in depth about like why this happened, how Atlantis and Lemuria fell on the Patreon. You know what I'm saying? I go way more in depth, but I'm trying to keep it very simple inside this video. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like once Lemuria and Atlantis was over, ETs actually helped to plant the Egyptians because that was supposed to be like the new beginning of like this new time matrix. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, ETs would constantly visit the Egyptians and they would help them grow with different teachings, different technology, and so on and so forth. Now there was also malevolent ETs coming to turn the people. You know what I'm saying? And these malevolent ETs were also present in Atlantis, and they weren't as much in Lemuria. But like these malevolent ETs who like wanted to mislead the Egyptians, they were also tied back to Atlantis, but not so much Lemuria. Now, as Egypt was falling, ETs actually led different beings to different parts of the earth to help them grow and develop. So ETs actually helped different beings spread out of Egypt as Egypt was falling. Now the humans at this point pretty much worship the ETs as gods. Like back during the time of like Mu and stuff like that, they were seen as like saviors who eventually became family because like I said, the ET. Oh, hold up. I'm getting text messages that are very important right now. I gotta respond to these. You know what I'm saying? I got to. Hold up. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, but I'm back. Drop a like, bro. If you ain't like the video by now, drop a like. I know that me telling you to drop a like for some of y'all is making y'all not want to do it. Y'all, people like y'all are the worst kind of people. Let me stop playing. But not for real, drop a like though. Support your boy. You want more vids like this? You gotta support your boy. You know what I mean? But nah, okay, let me stop playing around. Alright. So like I said, back during Mu, right? Like I said, like the ETs came to like lead the Mu people to inner Earth and eventually start Lemuria. So during that period of time, they didn't really like worship them as gods, but they kind of were like, oh my God, you beings are saving us. But at some point, they became family because the ETs actually mixed their genes with the Mu people to make Lemuria. You know what I'm saying? I explain more about that in the Patreon, but oof. Long story short, yeah. And then also when it comes like the god beings that became human, they kind of just saw them as beings coming to the planet, which used to be on their same level. So like the Mu people, like I said, it was like, oh, you guys are saviors and family. But to like to the people who made the Mu people, they're just like, oh yeah, like these ETs, like you guys are just like visitors. Like we were on your level before too. We just kind of fell. You know what I'm saying? So they ain't really like they ain't really like see the ETs. They ain't really see the ETs as nothing like special for real. You know what I'm saying? Now Lemurians kind of had the same as they kind of had the same perspective as the Mu people. The Lemurians saw the aliens as like saviors and family because, like I said, the Mu people came from. I mean, the Lemurians came from the Mu people, so they kind of shared the same perspective. Now, the Atlanteans kind of saw them as saviors, but not always as much as family, but more like intelligent leaders. Now, over time, they saw the benevolent ones as so in Atlantis you had like more like malevolent beings like the Atlanteans fell more to malevolence opposed to the Lemurians, right? So over time, right, those like malevolent Atlanteans, they kind of saw the benevolent ETs as like annoying guardians and like also like teachers and stuff like that, but they tended to see like the malevolent ones as like the more powerful brothers and leaders. So what I'm trying to get at is the fact that like, cause with Atlantis, the way that Atlantis got made is not the same as Lemuria. Atlantis kind of got like the beings that made Lemuria are not the same ones that made Atlantis. You know what I'm saying? Atlanteans actually came from like those. So the people who made the Mu people, right? They were kind of abandoned by the other ETs who were leading the Mu people. So because of that, those those creators of the Mu people, they always felt abandoned by those other ETs. But then you had different ETs that came down, and then they kind of helped those people to make Atlantis. So that's why it's like it. So the beings that helped to make Atlantis, right? Some were benevolent, some were malevolent, and that's why they kind of that's why the Atlanteans kind of saw the benevolent ETs as like annoying guardians because they're like, bro, y'all technically left us for dead. You know what I'm saying? And then with the malevolent ETs, they're like, yeah, y'all niggas helped us out. Like, you guys are like our fucking brothers. You guys are powerful. You guys are our leaders. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like that, you know? So there was like different views of ETs over several different periods of time for several different reasons. You know what I'm saying? Now, the ETs that got like led, my fault, the humans that got led out of Egypt, they kind of saw the ETs as like higher god beings, right? They're like, oh, they damn near worship them. Now let me tell y'all this though. The Egyptians, like the original Egyptians, right? The original Egyptians did not worship aliens as gods. They did not. You know what I'm saying? They did not. Now I know you have different Egyptian deities, and people love to say that these different Egyptian deities are just ETs, but that's not true. The Egyptian deity system was a spiritual system, and all the different deities were seen as different aspects of creation and different aspects of themselves. Now, this religion and this spiritual system was made with the help of ETs, but they weren't actually worshiping ETs. Now, over time, the Egyptians did start worshiping malevolent ETs, and that's where you get like all the blood sacrifices, and that's when Egypt started to fall and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And during that period of Egypt falling, you had certain ETs leading out certain Egyptians, and those Egyptians who got led out of Egypt, they dang near worship those ETs. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what it was like for those people. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and I already explained what it was like for like the Atlanteans and Lemurians and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Now here's why ETs stopped coming to Earth. It's like four main reasons, right? So number one, humans kept on seeing the ETs as gods, which wasn't really bad until they saw them as gods, which they couldn't become like. Because in the past, they knew that they could become like these beings. So essentially, right, like back in, like, for example, like with Lemuria, right? They didn't really worship the ETs, but they did kind of see them as like saviors and leaders, but also as family. And they understood that they could reach the same level as the ETs who were helping them. Same with the Egyptians. That's part of the reason why you even have the Egyptian deity system. Because if you actually practiced it with the Kemetic tree of life and stuff like that, you would become an immortal and you would actually return back to your God nature. You know what I'm saying? Like those Egyptians could return back to that godly nature of the Inataka who manifested themselves on the earth but became kind of human over time because they became more dense and you know what I'm saying. And one of those because the Hopi actually talk about this when it comes to like the four worlds. The four worlds for the Hopi are four different periods of the earth, and they actually mention how like the original humans were like they had like more like etheric bodies and all this other stuff, but like over time they became a bit more physical because they started losing their higher mindset, which I actually covered this inside that Galactic Origins class that deals with quarter four of Galactic Histories. So, like I said, like if you want to get more in depth with how stuff happened, go check out the Patreon. But to keep stuff simple, right? The Lemurians, the original Egyptians, and the Atlanteans, they always understood that they could get back to the same level as these ETs who were helping them. But when it came to like the people who were being led out of Egypt, since Egypt was falling, they were all experiencing like a more physical mindset. And the ones who got led out of Egypt, they weren't doing like they weren't a part of causing Egypt to fall. But these Egyptians at this period of time were like at like a lower level. So when they saw the ETs, it's like, oh my God, you guys are damn near our gods. And they didn't see them as equal. They didn't always realize that they could attain the same level as those ETs who were leading them out of Egypt. And because of this, the ETs were like, dang, like we want to help these people, but they're worshiping us as if we're gods, and they're kind of missing the point, you know. So that was a minor influence as to why they stopped coming, but there's more to this too. Um, like number two, humans weren't really open to their teachings, and they couldn't comprehend them like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like over time, humans couldn't really understand what the fuck the ETs were saying. You know what I'm saying? And they couldn't really like practice what was being preached. So it kind of became pointless. It kind of became pointless for ETs to guide humans because the humans couldn't even understand them and receive their teachings. You know. Now, some people also became scared of the ETs and even became hostile towards them. So like over time, right? Like some because like ETs would like come and then leave, they come and then leave. There was times where ETs would come, and it's like the humans have degraded so much that they became scared of them and became kind of hostile towards the fucking ETs. You know what I'm saying? And then also ETs decided that humans had to grow on their own and then ascend to a consciousness where they can actually accept ETs again. Because there's people nowadays who would be scared of ETs. You know what I'm saying? I know people who would be scared of ETs right now. So the ETs were like, dang, like the humans can't really receive what the freak we're teaching, and they're becoming scared of some of us. Therefore, there's no point to be here no more. You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna let them evolve on their own, and then when they're ready, we're gonna come back for them. You know, which is actually like that's kind of where we're at like right now. Like humans are finally like reascending to the point where they can actually accept ETs, and that's why you have like all these different star seeds who are actually helping the regular humans to awaken and stuff like that. And like yeah, so we're kind of hitting that period where we're becoming more and more open to ETs coming back and helping us. You know. Now let me say this too. This is why Christ also had to come to the earth because Christ wasn't an ET. Like people say that Christ was a star seed. Not really. Christ came directly from source. Like you know how like we're all God and we're all source. Christ was different from us though in the sense that yeah, we had that spark of God, but we also have like human egos. Christ didn't really have that. He was just like damn near fully embodied as God in the flesh. We are technically God in the flesh too, but we're not fully embodying that because we have human personality and ego. Christ didn't have that. However, Christ helped to show people that as a human, you could get to that state. Because with the ETs, when ETs were trying to teach the humans how to like ascend and stuff like that, some humans kind of thought like, well, we can't do that because we're just humans. You guys are ETs. So when Christ came, he actually showed that humans could reach that divine nature. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta just be an ET. You could be a human. You could be in the flesh, but still retain your godlike nature. You know. Now Christ came for many different reasons, but that was one of them to show people how to reattain this higher consciousness, so that way ETs can actually help them. Now ETs, right? Specifically the Pleiadians. And let me say this too. People say that Christ was a Pleiadian, right? And I feel like they say that because they look at that standard image of Jesus and they're like, "Oh yeah, he was like the white man with like the long hair." And it's like that's not what Christ truly looked like because if you actually read the Bible, they literally say that Christ, right? He had woolly hair and his feet were likened onto bronze or brass that was burnt. Actually, it was brass that was burned in a furnace, which would be brown skin. So it's like I feel like people just see Jesus. I feel like people see Jesus as like a white guy, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's a Pleiadian because he kind of looked like a Pleiadian," but he actually didn't. I actually pulled this up real quick too. Hold up, Christ. Let me pause the video real quick. Hold up. So I'm gonna show y'all the verse. Hold up. Right here, Revelation chapter 1 verses 14 through 15. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. So brass that's burned in a furnace is brown. He would have been like a brown skinned man. Now this ain't on no like, oh yeah, F the white man. No, I love white people. I have a lot of white friends. I'm just saying that if we're gonna be real, the image of Christ that y'all see is not what Christ looks like. That came way later in history. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's be clear about that. You know, so when people be like Christ is a Palladian, they're basing that off of a false image of Christ anyway. So it's like, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, anyway, back to my point, right? Christ showed people that you could still be a human and ascend to a very high status. Now, the Pleiadians stopped visiting humans around like 10 AD. In fact, shout out Debbie Solaris because I seen her make a post about that. You know what I'm saying? And I saw that in the records too. So yeah, shout out Debbie Solaris. But yeah, that's why they stopped coming because essentially humans couldn't receive their teachings anymore, and them coming on the earth was causing more conflict than it was benefiting them. So they kind of just said we're just gonna wait for humans to kind of just ascend to a point they can understand us, and Christ did help with that because he showed a way for humans to literally reach that divine level without having to be an alien. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I love you. I'm gonna catch my next video. Peace, the free out.